The forbidden room. Lyra had always been curious, even when she was told not to be. On her homeworld, curiosity was seen as dangerous, but on Earth, it was something she could not resist. She was here as part of a peace exchange between humans and her alien people. The military base was her new home for the next few months. It was full of strange machines, heavy vehicles, and tall human soldiers with hard eyes. She followed the rules. She stayed in her assigned quarters. She attended the meetings and training sessions. But there was one rule that made her think about breaking it every single day. The red door. It stood at the far end of the west corridor, guarded by a keypad and a scanner. Every soldier who passed by looked serious when they walked near it. Some even whispered in low voices, like they were afraid someone would hear them. Once, Lyra had asked a young soldier about it. The soldier's face went pale, and he said only 2 words: "Stay away." That made her even more curious. At night, when the base was quiet and the halls were empty, she sometimes walked past it. She would stop and stare at the red paint, wondering what was inside. The door had no window, no sound came from behind it, and yet she felt like it was alive somehow. Then, one cold night, something changed. Lyra was in her room reading a human history book when she heard a low hum. It was faint at first, like the sound of electricity far away. But then it grew louder, and she saw a blue glow spilling into the hallway from under her door. Her heart beat faster. She opened the door and looked down the corridor. The glow was coming from the direction of the red door. She walked toward it slowly, her bare feet silent on the floor. The air felt warm, almost heavy. The hum was now joined by a soft, pulsing sound, like a heartbeat. When she reached the red door, she saw something she had never seen before. The keypad's lights were blinking in a strange pattern, and the scanner's glass was glowing bright blue. The door, which was always locked, now had a small gap between it and the frame. She looked left. She looked right. The hall was empty. Her fingers trembled as she touched the cold metal. The hum seemed to grow louder inside her head, as if it was calling to her. She pushed gently, and to her shock, the door slid open without a sound. Inside was darkness, but not the kind that hides everything. This darkness was broken by rows of glowing containers, each one filled with liquid that shimmered like liquid stars. The air smelled sharp, like metal and ozone. She stepped inside, her breath slow and shallow. She could hear the faint clicking of machines, the soft hiss of pressure systems working. The walls were lined with shelves, and each shelf had glass vials of different colors: red, green, gold, and one that burned bright blue. Her eyes fixed on that blue vial. It sat alone on a black stand, as if it was too important to be with the others. It was small, only the size of her hand, and yet the light inside seemed alive, swirling and shifting like it wanted to escape. She moved closer. The label was written in human language. She could read some human words, but not all. The first word was serum, and the second word made her pause: forbidden. Her pulse quickened. She remembered the stories she had overheard, whispers of a human weapon so dangerous. Even their strongest soldiers feared it. A liquid that could give impossible strength, but at a terrible cost. Was this it? She reached out, her fingertips brushing the cool glass. The light inside pulsed faster, as if reacting to her touch. Then, a sudden blaring alarm shattered the silence. A loud metallic voice echoed through the room. Unauthorized access detected. Seal all sectors. Lyra froze. Her mind raced. She had to hide. She had to run. But footsteps were already pounding in the corridor outside. In panic, she grabbed the vial to hide it. Her grip was tight, too tight. The lid came loose with a sharp click. A drop of the glowing liquid spilled onto her fingers. It was warm, almost burning. She gasped in pain and, without thinking, brought her hand to her mouth. The taste was sharp and bitter, like swallowing fire. Her body shuddered, a strange heat blooming in her chest. She heard the soldiers shouting now, getting closer. The room seemed to spin, the hum growing louder, filling her ears until she could hear nothing else. Her last thought before the door burst open was not fear, but something darker, a feeling that whatever was inside that serum had just woken up inside her. The glowing vials, the soldiers' voices echoed outside the door, sharp and urgent. Their boots struck the floor in a steady rhythm that sounded like a countdown. Lyra's chest rose and fell quickly, her fingers still curled around the small blue vial. The glowing liquid inside seemed to pulse faster, matching her racing heartbeat. The air in the room felt heavy now. It was warm, thick, and smelled faintly of something strange like burnt metal mixed with wet stone. The sound of the alarm was everywhere, bouncing off the walls, making it hard to think. Her eyes darted across the room. She realized that the blue vial she held was not alone. There were dozens, maybe hundreds of other containers stacked on shelves from floor to ceiling. Some glowed softly in shades of red, green or gold. Others shimmered faintly, their colors shifting like oil on water, and a few looked completely black, absorbing every trace of light around them. But even with all these strange colors, the blue one in her hand felt different. Its glow was alive. It moved inside the glass like liquid lightning, curling and twisting in shapes she couldn't name. Her hand trembled, and another drop slid over her skin. This time, she didn't even have time to wipe it away. It sank in instantly, vanishing into her alien skin like water disappearing into dry earth. She gasped, her ears rang, her senses exploded. Every tiny sound became sharp and clear. The clink of glass vials shifting on a shelf far behind her. The slow hiss of air escaping from a pressure valve on the left wall. Even the heartbeat of a soldier outside, beating hard with adrenaline. She staggered, pressing her free hand against a table. The surface was cold, but she could feel the pattern of scratches on it as if they were carved into her own skin. "Focus," she whispered to herself, but the warmth spreading through her was growing hotter. It moved from her chest to her arms, then to her legs. Her muscles twitched with an energy she didn't understand. A shadow appeared under the gap of the door. Boots stopped just inches away. A man's voice spoke into a radio. "Sector 7. Breach confirmed. No visual on the intruder yet. Preparing to enter." Lyra's mind raced. If they saw her with this vial, they wouldn't just take it away. They would lock her up, question her, maybe worse. She looked to the far end of the room. There was another door there, small, metal, and half hidden behind a stack of crates. She darted toward it, weaving through shelves of glowing vials, careful not to knock any over. But as she moved, something else caught her eye. On the second shelf, near the wall, there was a glass case. Inside was a vial almost identical to hers, but its glow was not blue. It was white, pure and blinding, like frozen light, unlike the others. This one had 2 thick security clamps holding it in place, and a red tag that read, "Do not open." Prototype Alpha. She froze, torn between curiosity and fear. Why did this one look even more dangerous than the blue? Her instincts told her to leave it alone, but another part of her wanted to take it. The sound of the outer door unlocking made the decision for her. Metal scraped, heavy locks disengaged. She grabbed the blue vial tighter and sprinted for the smaller back door. Her fingers found the handle. It was cold, slick with condensation. She yanked it open and slipped inside, closing it silently behind her. Now she was in a narrow hallway. Dim red lights ran along the ceiling. The air here was cooler, damp, and smelled faintly of rust. Her footsteps echoed softly. the sound stretching far ahead like she was walking into a tunnel that had no end. Behind her, muffled shouts filled the forbidden room. They had found the open vial. They had seen the missing blue serum, and now they would come after her. She didn't know where this hallway led. But one thing was certain. She could feel the serum working inside her. Her body felt stronger, faster, more alive than it had ever been. Yet deep in her chest, under the warmth and power, there was something else. A shadow of hunger, a pull, like the serum itself was whispering to her. More. Find more. She didn't know if it was her thought or its thought, and that scared her more than the soldiers chasing her. The first effect, the hallway seemed endless. Its walls were dull metal, scratched from years of use. Pipes ran along the ceiling, dripping water that splashed onto the floor in slow, steady drops. Lyra's footsteps echoed softly, but her ears caught every sound as if it was right beside her. At first, she thought it was just fear, but then she realized her senses were not normal. She could hear the hum of electricity running through the walls. She could hear the faint click of a soldier reloading his weapon far behind her. She could even hear her own heartbeat, fast but steady. And it wasn't just her hearing, her vision had changed too. The dim red lights overhead seemed brighter, sharper. She could see every small dent in the walls, every fleck of rust, every droplet of water mid-fall. Her chest burned with strange heat. It was not pain, but it was not comfortable either. It felt like something alive was moving inside her, spreading through her veins. Her alien body had never felt like this before. Even during her most intense training, she had never known this kind of energy. Her breathing became deeper, slower. Every muscle in her body felt tense, ready to move. It was as if her instincts had sharpened into a weapon. She stopped for a moment, leaning against the wall, her fingers pressed into the cold metal. She was shocked when her hand left a faint dent in the surface. She stared at it. Her mind struggled to believe what she saw. She had pressed too hard without even trying. Not possible, she whispered. Her voice sounded different too, deeper, stronger, like it carried more weight. Footsteps echoed behind her. Closer now, shouts in human voices bounced off the walls. Move forward. Don't let her get away. The chase was closing in. She pushed herself forward, moving faster. But it was not just speed. It was something beyond what her body had ever done before. The hallway blurred around her. The ground felt lighter under her feet. She could run without feeling tired, her legs carrying her like they belonged to something else. Suddenly, the corridor split into two paths. One led upward to a maintenance hatch, the other downward into darkness. She hesitated for a second. Then she felt it, a pull in her chest. Not a thought, not a voice, but a direction. The serum inside her wanted her to go down. Her mind screamed to choose the other way, to escape into the open air. But her body moved on its own. Her feet took the downward path, deeper into the base. Away from safety, the temperature dropped. The air smelled like chemicals and damp stone. A low hum filled the space, deeper and heavier than before. It made her chest vibrate. The further she went, the stronger the pull became. Her hands began to shake. Not from fear, but from something else, an urge, an ache, like her body was hungry for more of the glowing liquid. She gritted her teeth, forcing herself to stop. Her mind fought against it. No. This isn't me. This is it. Her voice trembled as she whispered to herself, I won't let it control me. But before she could move again, a sound froze her in place. A deep, metallic creak, followed by heavy breathing. Not human breathing. Slow, rumbling. Almost like an animal. It was coming from the shadows ahead. She stepped back, her eyes narrowing. From the darkness, a shape moved. Huge, hunched. Its eyes glowing faint yellow in the dim light. Its skin looked rough, metallic in patches. It stepped forward. Slowly. And Lyra realized it wasn't wearing armor, its body was armor. The creature tilted its head, studying her, and for a moment, she thought she saw recognition in its gaze. Then it spoke. Its voice was deep and broken. You have it. The blue one. Her pulse spiked before she could ask what it meant. The creature let out a low growl and began to move toward her, fast. The hunt begins. The creature's heavy footsteps shook the floor. Its glowing yellow eyes locked on Lyra. Every movement it made was slow at first, as if testing her. But there was power in its steps, a dangerous, steady power that told her one thing. When it chose to attack, it would be fast. Lyra's chest burned again. The serum inside her reacted to the threat. Her vision sharpened, her muscles tightened. Every instinct screamed at her to fight or flee. Behind her, the sound of human boots was growing louder. Voices barked orders down the hallway. She's in the lower sector. Move, close off all exits. She was trapped between two dangers. The soldiers who would see her as a security threat, and the armored creature whose slow, deliberate approach made her skin crawl. The creature tilted its head. Its deep, rumbling voice spoke again. You. Carry what they took from us. Its gaze dropped to the glowing blue vial in her hand. Lyra's grip tightened. She didn't understand. What did it mean from us? The moment of stillness broke. The creature lunged, faster than her. Eyes could follow. Instinct took over. She rolled to the side, the air trembling as its clawed hands slammed into the floor where she had stood. Metal cracked and buckled under its strength, sending sparks into the air. Her heart pounded. This thing was stronger than anything she had ever faced, and yet, she wasn't afraid in the way she should have been. The serum gave her a strange confidence, a reckless courage that whispered, "You can take it." But there was no time to test that. The soldiers' shouts were now echoing from the corridor she had come from. They were close enough that she could hear the click of rifles being loaded. A sharp, metallic hiss filled the air as security doors began to slide down to seal the sector. She bolted down a side passage. Her speed surprised even her. Her feet barely touched the ground. The armored creature roared behind her, its claws scraping against the walls as it forced its way through the narrow hallway. The passage twisted and turned. Pipes overhead rattled from the force of their chase. The dim emergency lights cast strange, shifting shadows that danced along the walls. She turned a corner and nearly collided with two soldiers in full-body armor. They froze for a split second at the sight of her glowing eyes and the vial in her hand. Then one of them raised his weapon. "Drop it, now." Lyra's body reacted before her mind did. She jumped not just a step, but a leap that carried her over their heads. She landed behind them, rolling smoothly and sprinting away before they could recover. Her mind raced. Something about this power felt too natural, too easy. The serum wasn't just making her stronger, was making her enjoy it. That thought scared her more than the soldiers or the creature. The corridor ended in a large chamber. It was filled with strange crates, machinery, and tall storage tanks. She ducked behind a stack of containers just as the soldiers burst in from one side. From the other side, the armored creature entered. The soldiers stopped, aiming their rifles at it instead of her. The creature didn't slow down. It slammed into one soldier, sending him flying into the wall like a rag doll. Another soldier fired. The bullet sparked off the creature's metallic skin, but barely slowed it. Lyra crouched lower, watching the chaos. She could use this to escape. Both her hunters were now fighting each other. She spotted a maintenance door on the far side of the room, half open, leading to an unlit passage. But as she moved toward it, the serum's pull returned. It wasn't calling her toward safety. It was urging her toward the fight, toward the creature. Her hands clenched into fists. Her breath came fast. Part of her wanted to test her new strength. She shook her head, forcing her legs toward the door. But before she could reach it, the creature roared in pain. A soldier had managed to fire a round into one of its softer joints. The sound made her freeze. Not out of fear, but out of something else: sympathy, connection. The creature's glowing eyes turned to her. Through the chaos, it growled one word: help. And in that single moment, the choice before her became far more complicated than running away. Unstoppable changed the word help hung in the air. It was strange. The armored creature's voice was rough and broken, but there was something real in it. Not a threat, a plea. Lyra hesitated, her grip tightening on the glowing blue vial. The soldiers didn't pause. Their rifles spat fire. Bullets ricocheting off the creature's metallic skin with sharp cracks. The chamber echoed with gunfire, shouts, and the creature's deep growls. Then it happened. That same burning heat from war before surged through Lyra again, but this time it was different. It wasn't just in her chest. It spread to her arms, her legs, her spine. Her muscles tightened as if bracing for impact. Her breathing slowed until it matched the rhythm of her pounding heart. She could feel the serum pushing her, not in words, but in pure instinct. It wanted her to move, to fight, to use what it had given her. Her fingers twitched, her vision narrowed. Every sound around her sharpened until she could hear the click of a soldier's safety release, the creak of armor joints, the hiss of hydraulic pistons in the creature's legs. Then the world seemed to slow down. The soldier's movements became sluggish in her eyes. She could see their next steps before they took them. One was turning his rifle toward her hiding spot. Another was pulling something from his belt grenade. Her mind screamed to run, to get out, but her body didn't obey. She leaped forward before she could think, crossing the space between her and the soldier in less than a heartbeat. Her hand grabbed the barrel of his rifle and bent it with a loud, metallic crunch. The soldier's eyes widened in shock. She shoved him back with one arm, and he hit the wall so hard the air left his lungs. Another soldier aimed, but she was already moving. Her feet barely touched the ground as she closed the distance. A single kick sent his weapon flying across the room. Her strength scared even herself. She hadn't meant to hit him that hard. But the serum didn't care about holding back. The creature took the chance to strike. It swung a massive claw at the remaining soldier, knocking him into a stack of crates. Wood splintered and crashed around them. The air was thick with dust. Lyra's chest rose and fell slowly now. Not from exhaustion, she wasn't even tired. But from something else. A strange thrill ran through her. Every muscle felt alive. Every heartbeat was like fuel feeding a fire. But deep inside, she felt the hunger again. It was growing. It whispered to her, more, more. The creature limped toward her, one of its armored legs damaged. Up close, she could see that under the metallic plates was a dark, scaled hide. Its breathing was heavy, but its eyes still burned bright. "They will kill us both," it growled, "unless you accept what you've taken." She shook her head. "I didn't take it on purpose," she said, her voice low. "It doesn't matter." The creature replied, "You have it now. It will not stop. You will not stop." The word struck deep because she knew he was right. Already she could feel the serum in her veins like a living thing. And no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shut it out from somewhere above. A deep mechanical whir began. The ceiling panels slid open, and a new threat dropped into the chamber. Black armored soldiers, faster, heavier, their weapons glowing with blue energy. These weren't standard infantry. They were here for one purpose: neutralization. A voice boomed from their leader's helmet. "Target confirmed. Lethal force authorized." Lyra froze, the barrels of their weapons locked on her chest. The creature moved in front of her, shielding her with its massive frame. Energy bolts lit up the room, smashing into the creature's armor with sizzling bursts. It roared in pain, but didn't move aside. Her hands clenched again. The serum inside her surged. Her mind was torn between escape and unleashing everything she now held. The leader took another step forward. The voice came again. Final warning. Drop the vial. Get on your knees. But Lyra didn't drop it. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. She could feel her body choosing for her, and whatever happened next, there would be no going back. The truth of the serum energy bolts lit the air with blue fire. The sound was sharp, like thunder breaking in a metal box. Each shot slammed into the creature's armored hide, burning deep scars into its plates. The smell of scorched metal and hot ozone filled the chamber. Lyra stood frozen. For a heartbeat, the serum surged inside her, urging her to move. Every instinct screamed, fight or run, but her legs wouldn't choose. It was like the serum was waiting, watching, deciding what she would do. The creature staggered but didn't fall. Its massive arm shielded her from the worst of the blasts. It turned its head slightly toward her. Its voice was low, rumbling with pain. If you want to live, follow me. The black-armored soldiers reloaded in perfect unison. Their leader gave a hand signal. Half of them aimed at the creature. The other half aimed directly at Lyra. The serum pushed harder now. She could feel her muscles tensing on their own. Her breath slowed again. Her eyes narrowed. The world around her seemed sharper, too sharp. She could hear the faint whir of the soldier's weapon cooling systems. The small shift of a foot against the dusty floor. Even the creature's heartbeat. Deep and steady. The creature roared and swung a massive arm, knocking over a stack of crates. The crash filled the room with smoke and dust. It grabbed Lyra's wrist and pulled her toward a side corridor. Her body followed without resistance. The serum made her movements faster than she thought possible. They ran through a series of narrow maintenance tunnels. The sound of the soldiers' boots echoed behind them. Every turn seemed the same metal walls. Low ceilings, dripping pipes. Finally, the creature pushed open a heavy hatch and pulled her into a dark chamber. The hatch slammed shut with a deep clang. For a moment, there was silence, except for their breathing. Lyra's chest rose and fell slowly, but she didn't feel tired. She felt stronger, and that scared her. The creature moved to a console in the corner of the room. It tapped a sequence on the controls. Dim lights flickered on, revealing a space filled with old machinery and dusty containers. On the wall, there was a large symbol, half burned away, but still visible. Lyra recognized it instantly. It was not human. It was from her own people. Her eyes narrowed. "This isn't your base," she said. The creature looked at her for a long moment. Then it said, "No, this was ours. Long before the humans found it." Lyra stepped back, the truth beginning to form in her mind. "You mean?" The creature nodded. "The serum. It is not human science. It was our creation. An ancient weapon we abandoned." Her fingers tightened around the vial. "Why abandon it?" The creature's voice dropped lower. "Because it doesn't just give strength. It changes the mind. The one who takes it stops being themselves." The words hit her harder than any weapon, because she could already feel it. The hunger, the reckless courage, the way her body moved before she decided to. It wasn't her anymore. It was the serum. She swallowed hard, and the humans. They stole it. The creature's eyes narrowed. "They found our ruins. Took what they could. They thought they could control it, but they didn't know the cost." Lyra felt anger rising in her chest, not just at the humans for taking something so dangerous, but at her own people for creating it in the first place. The creature took a step closer. "You still have a choice. Give it back, or embrace it." Its gaze was heavy. "If you give it back, you may survive. If you keep it, you will be stronger than any human. But you will not be you." Before she could answer, the hatch behind them exploded inward. The black-armored soldiers poured in. weapons raised. The leader's voice boomed again. Target found. Lethal force authorized on both. The creature turned toward them, roaring. The serum inside Lyra flared like fire. Her body leaned forward, ready to launch. Her mind was screaming at her to choose to fight, to flee, to give in, or to resist, and then she realized whatever choice she made now, it would not only decide her fate, it would decide the fate of humans and her own people. The final choice of the room was chaos in motion. Smoke from the blown hatch curled in thick clouds. The black-armored soldiers stepped through it like shadows made of metal. Their weapons hummed with a deadly blue glow. The barrels locked onto Lyra. And the armored creature, one wrong move and both would be gone in seconds. The creature moved in front of her again. Its massive body was shaking from wounds. Its armor was cracked and dark liquid seeped from the gaps. But its stance was solid. It was ready to die here. Lyra could feel the serum boiling in her veins. The heat was almost unbearable now. Her senses stretched beyond the room. She could hear soldiers in the corridors above, drones flying in the air outside the base, even the faint thrum of the planet's energy lines deep underground. Her body was ready to move. Her mind was drowning in two voices. One was hers, telling her to stop, to run, to live. The other was the serum's, deep, primal, intoxicating. Fight. Take more. Never be weak again. The leader of the soldiers stepped forward. The blue visor on his helmet reflected the glow of her eyes. His voice came out calm. Last chance. Give us the vial, and we'll make your end quick. Resist, and you'll wish you hadn't. The creature's head tilted. Its voice was low but sharp. If you give it to them, they will use it on their soldiers. They will spread it to others. It will not stop. Her hands clenched around the vial so tight, she thought. The glass might break. Images flashed in her mind, humans armed with impossible power. Her people hunted down by their own creation and herself. Losing more and more of who she was until nothing of Lyra remained. A deep rumble rolled through the floor. It wasn't from the soldiers. It was from her. Her breathing was heavier. Her voice dropped to a tone she didn't recognize. I choose. Before she could finish the words, a soldier fired. The bolt missed her head by less than an inch. Time seemed to slow. The serum took full control. Her body moved faster than her thoughts. She launched forward. One moment, she was crouched behind the creature. The next, she was in front of the soldiers. Her hand grabbed the nearest rifle and crushed it like thin foil. She twisted, knocking the soldier into two others. The air crackled with energy bolts flying past her. The creature roared and charged with her. Its massive arms slammed into the ground, cracking the metal floor. Two soldiers went down under its weight. The others scrambled to fall back, but Lyra didn't let them. She was already there, moving in bursts too quick for the eye to follow. Every hit she landed sent armored men flying into walls and crates. But even as she fought, she felt it. The serum was no longer whispering. It was shouting. It didn't care about who she was protecting or why she fought. It only cared about winning, overpowering, destroying. One soldier fell to the ground at her feet, his helmet cracked. Through the shattered visor, she saw his face. He wasn't much older than her. His eyes were wide with fear. For a moment, her real self pushed through. She froze. The serum pushed harder. Finish him. Her breath trembled. She stepped back. No, this wasn't her. She wasn't going to become the thing this serum wanted her to be. The creature slammed an armored hand into the wall, tearing open a panel. Behind it was a glowing core of machinery and stable. Energy cells, destroy it. It roared. This is their supply. Their power. End it now. Lyra's eyes locked on the core. If she hit it, the blast would tear through the lower levels of the base. It would kill the soldiers, destroy the serum reserves, and maybe kill her too. But if she didn't, the humans would still have the serum, and the war it could start would never end. Her chest rose and fell once. Twice, she looked at the creature, at the soldiers, at the vial in her hand. Then she smashed the vial against the floor. The blue liquid hissed and burned through the metal. Her body shook violently as the serum inside her reacted. She turned toward the core, her hands glowing with the last of its power. "This is my choice," she said, and she struck. The world became light and fire. The floor ripped apart, the walls folded inward. Heat roared around her, and then silence. When the smoke cleared, the chamber was gone. The soldiers were gone. The creature was nowhere in sight. Lyra stood alone in the ruins, her body weak, the power fading, her knees buckled. She fell to the ground, staring at the empty space. Where the vial had been, she was still herself. But she knew the cost. The humans would see her as an enemy now. Her own people would call her a traitor for destroying their creation, and somewhere, deep in the galaxy, she was certain this was not the last time she would face the serum. Her voice was a whisper in the wreckage. My fatal mistake. Or my first step to saving us all. Shadows in the aftermath, the smoke still curled upward from the ruins. The ground was blackened and broken. Metal beams jutted out at strange angles, their edges glowing faintly from the heat. The air was heavy, with the smell of burnt metal and scorched stone. Lyra sat on the shattered floor. Her hands rested on her knees, trembling slightly. Every muscle in her body ached now. The serum's fire was gone. In its place was an emptiness that felt too quiet. She turned her head slowly, searching for movement. No soldiers, no drones, no armored creature. Just silence. The kind of silence that pressed on the ears until it felt like weight. Her gaze fell on a twisted piece of metal near her foot. It was a fragment of the vial she had smashed. The glass edges still glowed faint blue. She hesitated before reaching for it. Even now, the faint hum inside it called to her like a heartbeat. She pulled her hand back, letting it lie in the dust. A sharp noise broke the stillness, the sound of boots crunching on rubble. Lyra froze from the shadows of a collapsed wall. A figure stepped forward. It wasn't a soldier. Not fully armored, he wore a long, dark coat, the kind designed to hide weapons. His face was mostly hidden under a half-mask with red lenses, but she could see his mouth curl into a faint smile. "You did what the humans couldn't," he said. His voice was smooth, calm, destroyed their supply. Impressive, but foolish. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" The man tilted his head. "Someone who knows the serum far better than you. Far better than your people. And I know. You didn't destroy all of it." Her chest tightened. "That was the last," she said firmly, but he only chuckled. "The last here. Not the last in the galaxy. There are more caches. More guardians. And now, thanks to you, they'll be waking up." She stood slowly, keeping her weight balanced. "What do you want?" The man's smile widened. "To offer you a choice. Join us, and we'll find the rest of the serum before the humans or anyone else can use it. Refuse, and, well, let's just say the next time we meet, I won't be offering." Before she could answer, a faint rumble shook the ground beneath them. It was low at first, then grew into a deep vibration. From the far end of the ruins, metal shifted and stone cracked. A huge, clawed hand broke through the rubble. It was the armored creature alive, but barely. Its eyes locked on Lyra. It didn't roar this time. It simply said one word: "Run." The masked man didn't move. He just glanced at the creature. Then back at her. "Choose quickly, Lyra. You don't have much time." Her heart raced. The serum was gone from her blood. But she still felt something deep inside. A faint trace. A whisper, The hunger was weaker now, but it wasn't gone. It would never be gone. And as the ground cracked wider, as the sky above filled with the hum of approaching ships, she realized her fatal mistake had only been the first chapter of something much, much bigger.